1. Shit's gonna get real now. Shit's gonna get real now.
And it's gonna hit the fan.
Yes, the rubber gonna hit the road, as they say. Are you excited for this?
Oh yes. Oh,
I am too. I love the NFL postseason. My favorite is always the first 2 weeks because you get all the games. You get
Saturday, Sunday, all day long.
It used to be 4 games each weekend. This year we get 6 games in week 1.
Wow.
I kind of at first I was like, not another playoff team, but you know what? I think this is the better way.
It is.
It makes the number 1 seed super valuable.
Even more important, yeah. And we saw that play out.
Yep. And it made week 17 more important for a lot of teams because they had to go right to the end and try to get that number 1 seed in a week off. And then now you get wall-to-wall football both days here. The first day, it's freaking awesome, man.
Yeah, all day, start 1 to 11 or 12, I guess. Jesus.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So, couch potato city, right?
No, I can still get exercise while walking around my living room and watching.
Yeah, I think the first game I'm going to go to the gym and watch a lot of it there because they have a million TVs and I know it'll be on almost all of them. So, I'll keep an eye on it and then go from there. But, well, I don't want to give too much away. Let's get right into it, shall we?
Yep. First game.
Starting mañana, right off the bat at 1:05 p.m. on CBS Network. The Colts and the Bills. I made new graphics. You like them? These are.
I love them. These are
our playoff graphics.
Yep.
Yeah. So the 11-5 Dolts at the 13-3 Buffalo Circle the Wagon Bills.
And how long's it been since the Bills hosted?
God. About 20 years, right?
I mean, I know they're in the playoffs.
The Music City Miracle, I think, was the last home playoff game for them.
Home, right? Yeah.
And I still think that was a forward pass. I do. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. But hey, maybe we'll get a rematch of the Titans and the Bills week 2.
Yeah.
You never know. So what do you think of this one? What's your breakdown? What's your initial thought anyway?
The Bills, well, let me go back. You said it perfectly a couple of days ago with, or maybe, my days are blending into each other. With that even now at the end of the season, we still don't know who the Colts are. Okay, that's right. That's the best, probably the best thing I could say in terms of the Colts. And the Bills, we do know what they are. Holy cow, they've been like, we've talked over and over again how the beginning of their season they came out really fast and strong, and then they hit their kind of divot where they slowed down and had a three game losing streak or so, and then they hit the ground running again mid-season and they haven't slowed down. They're by far the hottest team right now. Their offense is so supercharged that it doesn't look like anybody can stop them. And now also as we got to the end of the season, their defense has begun to step up. Wow. I don't know. I know that in any kind of NFL, especially in the playoffs in this NFL game, there's a little avenue that the other team, no matter how lopsided it is, like there's an avenue that the Colts can find a way to win, but I don't see it right now.
No, not unless Josh Allen gets hurt.
Yeah, there's that one.
There's always that. I mean, the injuries are always the X factor, but we can't count on happening. So we just got to take it at face value. Look at it on for what it is on the surface. I agree with you. The first 4 weeks, the Bills looked dominant, although their defense didn't look very good, but their offense was blowing people out.
Right.
Then they hit that lull, and they lost those 3 games pretty much, and at least 2 of them. I don't quite remember. I mean, I don't have the memory I used to have. But
it all blurs.
It's a big smear. And then you're right. Then they righted the ship, and they've been putting up all kinds of numbers on offense. Their offense reminds me a lot, although, well, it's as powerful as the Jim Kelly Bills offense.
Yeah.
But that one hinged a lot around Thurman Thomas.
Right.
And a lot of play action and a lot of screen passes to Thurman Thomas out in the flat.
Yep.
This offense hasn't really figured out how to use Devin Singletary or Zach Moss yet. And when they do figure that out, the sky's the limit, because this team they're just firing. Knox is getting involved. The wide receivers, Beasley's like the least of the bunch, and he's had a phenomenal season.
He's had a great year.
Stephon Diggs, and now John Brown's getting back in after being injured. So the sky's the Jake Allen, he's a goalie. Josh Allen looks phenomenal. But I think you hit it on the head. Now their defense, which was really good last year and was supposed to be their strength coming into this year.
Right.
A lot of people thought the Bills are the favorite to win the division. It's because of that defense. Their offense will do enough to win, but that defense will keep opponents at 20 points or less and give the offense a chance to win the game. It's been the opposite until the last 6 weeks or so, I think.
Yep.
So now both sides of the ball are humming. To me, this is the most dangerous team in the whole tournament.
Yeah, you have to say that.
I really think the Bills they went into the playoffs on fire. They put up 56 points against your team, which is a really good team, in a game they didn't even really need.
And where the starters weren't in the whole time.
The starters weren't in the whole time, and Miami needed the game. Miami's and so and they also have the home field advantage. And there's very few home field advantages this year with no crowd. But the Bills have one, and that's because of weather. Now, I have the AccuWeather forecast pulled up here. You know what? In fact, I will share the screen so we're going to look at the weather for each game here.
Yeah, good idea.
Preview.
Because that will play into it.
That will play into it. So the weather for Buffalo, New York tomorrow, 36 degrees and mostly sunny. So the Colts
should be pretty even.
But they are an indoor team.
Yeah.
And they've got to go out to 36 degrees. Real feel 35, so there won't be much of a wind chill. So looks like they're going to get pretty lucky with the weather. I don't think it'll be too much of a factor. But I see Buffalo in a rout here. I think Buffalo by 10, easy.
Yeah, I mean, I don't. Yeah, so the weather looks. So the Colts certainly can't use the weather as an excuse. That's for sure.
Right.
But, and you brought up a good point that it's like their offense is so prolific, and they still don't really have a really good running game on top of that. Can you imagine if they did have a good running game?
And they do involve the backs in the short passing game, but they don't. It's not effective.
Right.
It's occasionally we'll get them a first down or something. It's not getting them the big payback. It's not getting them 20, 30 yards at a clip. It gets them like 8.
Yep.
And I know because I started the season with Devin Singletary on my fantasy team. I had Zach Moss the second half of the year, and neither of them did jack shit. So, but if they figure that out, they're not going to figure it out this week. They're not going to figure it out this year. But I'm talking next year. This team could be better.
Could be
even better because Singletary and Moss are talented. Moss was a rookie this year. Singletary is a second-year guy.
Yeah.
Look out for this team. This team's going to be big trouble for years to come.
Yeah, I can't believe a few years ago, Josh Allen was considered to be kind of like a game manager at that point. And they weren't really sure whether he was just going to stay a game manager. Well, here's a news flash. He's not just a game manager. Not this year.
No, he's MVP caliber quarterback.
He's learned. I mean, he's shown he can throw any pass. He's shown he can deal with the pressure. And he does have, and he's pretty quick in the pocket. I mean, he's not necessarily known as a runner, but he definitely can run. So he has that aspect of it too. They have the whole thing there. I mean, if you just wanted to kind of throw something out to the Colts fans, I would say if your defense can kind of keep it close at the beginning, the problem is this, because the believe it or not, I know that Dolphin Bills score is pretty bad. Believe it or not, that started off with the Dolphin defense stopping the Bills the first 3 drives. Here's the problem. Their offense didn't score points. You have to kind of take advantage. If you can start the game by keeping them at bay, you have to score points to get ahead. If you can't do that, then you're lost. You'll
fall behind quickly against this team.
So and that's it. So and I don't see the way the Colts offense has been playing. I don't see that happening. So
yeah, no, I'm with you. The Colts have a nice team. There's no doubt about it. I don't know what they're thinking for quarterback going forward.
Yeah.
So, I mean, Phillip Rivers is fine, but he's up there. He's 38 years old. That it seems to me that's the one glaring problem. Their secondary is not that great either, but well, good luck to the Colts. I mean, anything can happen. They won 11 games for a reason in this league. So, but I can't see Buffalo losing. So I think we both take the Bills, right?
Yep, Bills.
That's what we're doing here. All right, next up, we have the golfless Rams at the struggling Seahawks.
Yeah, this was kind of the tough one for me. Probably the toughest one of the weekend to figure out, just because of the way they both been. I can't believe, what was it? How many? Maybe 4 or 5 short weeks ago that or maybe it was longer. Maybe it was a midseason that we're like, oh, this NFC West is like the most dangerous division in the NFL. So all 4 teams could make the playoffs if the 49ers had somehow not gotten bit by the injury bug. At least the top 3 will. Right. And then what's happened? I can't explain what happened.
They all look pretty pedestrian to me.
They do. They do. Right at the wrong time. It's like the Cardinals, made themselves, lose the playoffs, couldn't get in, and then these two didn't look good at all in the last few weeks.
No.
The Seahawks barely got by the 49ers. I don't know what's happened with that. They used to have that prolific offense early in the season. Remember when they were like,
let Russ cook? Yeah,
he was like
all over the
heading
place.
towards a MVP season, and then their whole. I can't even place why or where, like the offense that Seattle offense kind of just lost it. I just don't understand. Their defense has gotten a little bit better, but still, I don't understand where their offense kind of just got lost.
Their defense, when they added Carlos Dunlap and they got Jamal Adams back from injury, their defense shored up a lot of the problems they were having early on. Early on, they were in these track meets with people.
Yeah.
But then the defense clamped down. But then it seems like the offense blew a flat tire like somewhere in there. And I don't understand why. They're relatively healthy. They have good wide receivers. And then Carson's a tank. I just don't understand. Something's not right. But I look at the Rams, and even with Jared Goff, I don't trust him in a big spot. And now they're starting the AAF guy again. What's his name? Wolford. Yeah. So, and they're on the road. Let's take a look at the Seattle weather, shall we? The Seattle weather for tomorrow.
Rain.
No, that's today.
Okay.
Tomorrow is sunny, 46 degrees, variable cloudiness, real feel 46. Okay. So again, let me click on it and see if we get some deets about the wind or anything. Wind gusts 8 miles an hour. That's tomorrow. Yeah. So they're good. It's fine. It's
mild,
fine.
Yeah.
The Rams do play outside at home in LA, so it's not going to be that bad. A little chilly, but not horrible. So I can't see the weather being a problem in this game either, really. So, hey, look,
remember when it was really tough to go to Seattle?
Yes. Well,
that
again,
location,
again, no fans this year. Right. Huge difference. And I actually heard an interview with Ben Roethlisberger last week where he was talking about, because there's no fans, it's harder to fool the other team with cadences or disguising your calls, because he's like, they can actually hear your huddle.
Yeah.
They hear what we're saying.
Start whispering.
Right. And then that's why they're also having communication problems with wide receivers and stuff, because they're trying not to talk too loud.
Right.
And some of the guys aren't getting and they're running the wrong routes and what. He said it's been a different kind of challenge. He said it's not an excuse making. I'm just telling you, it's been different this year because there's no noise. There's no fans.
It makes sense.
We're at home hearing all that fake piped in crowd noise, so we're not realizing that.
Yeah.
You know, they're in an empty building, and your voice echoes all over the place. So, so that's why Seattle 12th man doesn't factor in now.
Right.
They're just they're just playing outside in another field. So that all said, I don't think the Rams are going to have enough. Their defense is great. Let's face it.
I was just going to say, yeah, their defense is really good.
And we're going to get another rematch. We've already had it twice of DJ Metcalf on Ramsey. But I just don't think the Rams are going to score enough. They had a lot of trouble last week with Arizona. A lot of trouble. And I don't think they scored an offensive touchdown, right?
No, they didn't. Nope.
And to me, you break it all down. You got the great pass rush with the Rams, the great secondary with the Rams, very pedestrian, if not almost incompetent offense now without the quarterback. Seattle has a solid defense. Not great, solid. But they got Russell Wilson.
Right.
And to me, that's going to be the difference.
And he's a different guy in the playoffs, too.
Well, the bottom line is, for me, if it comes down, you're under 5 minutes to go in a tight game, he will find a way to to win the game. He'll do it himself. He'll just will it to happen. I got to give Seattle the edge.
Yeah, and that pass rush, like you said, the Rams pass rush is great, but Wilson also has the legs to kind of extend the plays, so that helps them a lot. They also have those weapons on offense that inexplicably we haven't seen a lot of, but they have the potential to score a lot more than they have been. And even if they don't, it'll still be enough to overcome the Rams' offensive woes. I mean, the Seattle has a decent defense, not great, but it'll be enough to really slow down that Rams offense at this point where they're at.
Yeah,
I see. Like giving the kickers a heads up, you're probably going to do a lot of work in this game. But I give definitely the Seahawks the edge.
Yep. All right. Well, we're both on the same page for both games. We got the Bills and the Seahawks. That brings us to the last game of Saturday.
Oh, yeah.
The Tampa Brady Buccaneers against the Washington Football Team. The 7-9 home game for the Washington Football Team.
And I give the Washington Football Team a lot of credit for this season. We both have. They've been gritty, with Alex Smith back. They've gone from last to first. Entering this season, they weren't even projected to. They were projected to be last where they started, but somehow they grudged to all the game. They do have that defense has gotten better and better every year, every week, and they are playing their best right now. So give them that. But Tampa Bay's offense is like, have you seen those scores over the last 4 or 5 weeks? Well, pretty much all year, but still 4 or 5 weeks. I mean, 35, 31, 44 last week. I don't see how, even with that good defense, they're going to be able to slow them down.
Yeah, no. Here's what I see. Well, first, let's start with Chase Young. So you heard what he said.
Yep.
He wants a piece of Tom Brady.
Bad move.
I think he's going to get a piece of Tom Brady.
Probably will.
I think he's going to get him more than once. That said, I think early on, I think it'll be kind of close. It'll be one of those. It'll be like a heavyweight fight where they come out in the first round and they don't ever land a punch. They kind of dance around and jab, and they're just feeling each other out. And I think you're going to get a lot of that in the first quarter, especially maybe over the first half. Might be kind of close. But if Tom Brady stays upright, this is going to be a smoke show in the second half. And they'll win going away. Washington's defense is all they really got. I mean, their offense is better with Alex Smith, but it's still not. It's not good enough to get in a track meet with this team.
No.
They're a good year away from being a true contender. Washington. I mean, they had a nice run at the end and got in the playoffs, like you said. Congrats to that. But next year you'll have Gibson in his second year at running back, and McKissick, the both of them, right. Great weapons out of the backfield. McLaurin's the only good receiver they have. They've got to beef up their wide receiver core.
For sure.
Tight end Logan Thomas is very good. They're all set there. But, the other X factor is Alex Smith is 37 years old.
Yep.
He's coming off a horrific injury. But let's face it, they're not here without Alex Smith. And I don't think he was even part of the plan at the beginning of the year.
Right.
So it was kind of like house money that he had to go in because Haskins got hurt and then Allen got hurt. And they had to look at Alex Smith and go,
let's try it.
Get out there, Gimpy. And I honestly thought he played that one game, and I'm like, he proved he could do it, but he's going to retire at the end of the year. It's over. But then he just went on this run, and he's looked really good. And now it's almost like he's the only one that can play quarterback.
That's it. Yeah, for them.
So that said, I mean, they struggle to score 20 points with or without him. I don't see them being able to win this game if Tom Brady plays the whole game.
Yep.
Now, I did hear something else interesting two stats that someone brought up about Tom Brady. One, in night games over the past, I forgot how many years, 4 years, he's like 1-3 in night games. Wow. And that includes an ass whooping to the Saints this year.
Right.
38-3, where he looked just horrible and lost. The other stat is, the Giants showed this in the Super Bowls. If you can get pressure on him with 4 guys,
yep,
you will be successful and you'll keep the score down. Because apparently, what Tom Brady's really good at is if you take that 5th or 6th guy and blitz him, and that leaves someone uncovered in the middle of the field,
he'll always find.
He'll pick you apart. He'll find that guy. If you can get pressure on him with the 4 and cover those wide receivers where he can't get rid of the ball, and he's got to hold on to it for that extra second or two, starts taking those sacks, which is clearly what the Saints were doing to him this year in both games.
Yep.
Now you've got a formula. And Washington's got the best defensive line aside from the Rams, I think, in football, maybe the Saints. But there is an outside shot. There's an outside shot that if that 4 guys on that Washington line can sustain pressure on Tom Brady, and we've seen Tom Brady when he gets consistent pressure, they will have a shot.
Okay. And I agree with you that defensive line is the one that can do that, can just do it with a 4 and put a lot of pressure on him. That being said, that the Tampa Bay also has a decent defense, and
yes, they do.
I could easily see this being one of those 6-3, going into the half, even or
that's what I'm thinking,
going back and forth, and that's what Washington wants. Obviously,
yes,
they don't want to get it into a shootout. They couldn't want that. I just think that the Tampa Bay offense will find enough to outscore Washington against the Tampa Bay defense. It might. I'm not saying it's a blowout, because you make a great point. They keep that pressure up, they will severely slow them down. I still think Tampa Bay will get enough, even if it turns into this kind of this, punching back and forth and this in the trenches type thing.
Right. To me, this is the most intriguing game of the day because Washington has that defensive line, and after hearing those numbers, gave me pause and said, okay, because if they can, Tom Brady, and you look at him in those 2 Super Bowls against the Giants when they rushed 4 and constantly they were in his face all the time, they struggled. They couldn't get 20 points. Look at the Rams 2 years ago. That defense was in his face. They couldn't score. They couldn't move the ball.
That's true.
So
that's true.
If Washington can do that and keep the Tampa Bay Buccaneers under 20, Washington can win this game.
They have a shot. Yeah.
And there's always an upset. Yeah,
it's true. It's true.
And this is one of the ones I think can potentially be that upset. This could be an earth-shattering upset. Well, we've seen 7-9 before. Marshawn Lynch, the Marshawn Lynch run. The Seahawks were 7-9 that year. Went to New Orleans, or New Orleans had to go there.
Yeah,
they won the division at 7-9 in that Marshawn Lynch run. They pummeled the Saints. So it can happen. Right. Do I think it's going to happen? Absolutely not. Would I love to see it happen? Am I rooting for it to happen? Hell yeah. Because who doesn't like to see Tom Brady whining? Checking the weather in Washington. What's going on? The whole country, 47. Real feel 39. So it'll feel 10 degrees colder, and it'll be kind of windy. So that could affect special teams. But
everybody forgot it's January.
Where's the snow games? Come on. I want to see the tuck rule. Yeah. So
that's the first thing that flashed into my head as soon as you said that.
But this is the one that actually would have a little bit of weather effect because of the wind. The 22-mile-an-hour winds could affect kicking. But I mean, it's nothing earth-shattering. It's not like we're going to have 40-mile-an-hour winds with driving rain or snow or anything like that. So, but it is Tampa Bay. It's a warm weather team coming up north to play a windy, cold day. Brady, it won't bother because he's from. He played 20 years up here in Foxborough. It's not going to bother him, but it might bother a lot of the other guys. So this is the one to circle, gang. For Saturday, this is the one to circle and keep an eye on because you laugh at the football team's record. But I think out of the 3 games, they are the underdog with the best shot.
Yeah, and the NFL, once you get to the playoffs, that's where it's just...
Everyone's 0-0 again.
Yep.
So I'm still going Tampa Bay, but boy, am I rooting for Washington. Come on, Alex Smith. You can do it.
Yeah. I'm like really looking forward to just hoping to just sit and watch this one straight through.
Yep.
And I really hope it doesn't become like a lopsided game either way.
No, because then you have to shut it off and find something else to watch.
Yeah.
Let's move over to Sunday. We got 3 more. See, isn't this fun? Got all these games. This is going to be a beaut.
This is another one.
I'm going to get up. I'm going to sleep in a little bit. I'm going to get up and make a nice breakfast. I'm going to make some coffee, and I'm going to sit down and watch this sucker.
This is like...
Boy, the Ravens and the Titans. A rematch of last year when Tennessee absolutely stunned everyone and put a whooping on the Ravens in Baltimore. This time, Baltimore's got to go to Tennessee. This is a flip a coin.
And I'm sure Lamar, it's all in Lamar's head, that game where they all thought they were just going to cruise through at least until they got to Kansas City. And who knows if they looked past them a little bit because they were thinking of Kansas City. I don't know. But I'm sure he's looking forward to, in his head, like to get some kind of revenge. I don't know if you think Tennessee has any kind of psychological edge here? I mean,
perhaps.
They do seem to have that kind of like toughness.
They beat him already this year once.
They beat him already.
There's so many things that go into this.
I know.
Going back to last year's game, and you're right. I mean, Lamar Jackson was an MVP. He was the MVP of the league.
Yep.
And I'm not sure if that played into any kind of lackadaisical, overlooking the opponent kind of thing, because he struggled the year before in the playoffs as well.
Right, that's true.
And the narrative's already being written. He's only in his 3rd year, and they already got him labeled as the guy who can't win a playoff game, which I think has put a huge chip on Lamar's shoulder. By the way, it was his birthday yesterday, too. Happy birthday, Lamar Jackson, who I do really admire and I like, and I think he's a phenomenal talent and a good kid. This is a really interesting game because it can go a lot of different ways. Let me hear your thoughts first.
I'll say this. I know it's a different year, but just to flash back to last year. The thing is, and this is like a pro Baltimore thing. The thing is, in that playoff game, there was at least 2 distinct, I remember, 4th and 1s that they went for. They loved always to go on 4th down because of that running game. And they still do. I know that. Which Tennessee stopped them and their offense turned into touchdowns. Now, with like some kind of like long pass, Tannehill's long passing. I mean, he was like throwing maybe 10, 15 passes a game, but they were going for really long passes. Tannehill's still doing that, but can you really see the Tennessee defense stopping them on 4th and 1 right now? I don't know. It's that their defense is much, much weaker this time around.
I put the red meat in the trap and you walked right into it. Okay. I wanted you to say it. Let's face both teams, they're very similar in structure. They both live off the running game.
Yep, they do.
And Lamar's passing at times
gotten better though.
It's gotten better ever since the diarrhea.
I mean, still against weak teams, so I'd like to see. Well,
right.
It's a weak defense.
Let's just say we'll call it spotty. Tannehill,
good. Really
he's looked good, but he also is capable of spotty. So, I don't think either team really wants the game in their hands throwing the ball.
Right.
Although Tannehill's had much more success, including just last week with the bomb at the end to Brown to set them up for that game.
Which helped me, by the way. Thanks, Tannehill.
You beat me by the one game because of that. But their defenses are the difference.
Yep.
And Tennessee's defense is abysmal and can't get off the field.
Yep.
So.
Yep. And the Raven defense isn't like this Pro Bowl defense or whatever, but they're at least better, much better, than Tennessee's. And I think that'll be the difference if the Ravens can just keep right on trucking along with a running game. All things considered evenly, that I think that's the difference. That the Tennessee defense is just.
Yeah, I see two major differences that work in Baltimore's favor. One is the defense is slightly better. And the second is that Lamar Jackson is so mobile. He poses an entirely different threat. Tannehill's a statue. Tannehill's handing the ball to Derrick Henry and watching him knock people down like bowling pins.
Yep.
And what they're going to hope to do, Tennessee, is just they're going to steady diet of Derrick Henry and hope that the Ravens get fatigued from trying to tackle that guy. So in the second half, when they keep giving him the ball, he starts breaking off these runs. Last year Tannehill threw 14 passes or something in this game, 18 maybe. I think don't be surprised if he's under 20, if he's around 20 again this year, even though he's throwing the ball much more effectively. I think they're going to try the same exact formula that they've done against this team the whole time. And if they can do that, and Derrick Henry can eat clock, and Lamar Jackson stands over there and watches, that works in your favor. And that's the only hope they have, because the Tennessee defense is terrible, and they're not going to stop this team.
They're not. And I think in addition to trying to get them tired out for the second half, I think they'll also try to draw the Baltimore defense in there to stop Henry, which will give Tannehill the opportunities for that long ball, because he may be a stature compared to Lamar Jackson, but he's proven he'll stay there under the pressure and make those throws.
Oh yeah, no, he'll hang in the pocket. And that's a good point.
Watch out for that, not to have those guys back there.
Excellent point, and this proves why a good running game is important, because if they do have Derrick Henry, and even if he's not making huge gains early on, but they consistently give him the ball, it will suck the Ravens defense, and you get those linebackers up, you get the safeties cheating up,
right?
And then they the play action, they suck in, and now somebody's open in the seam, and it opens up your whole game. And if you can get their defense on their heels, then anything can happen. It's totally evenly matched. I mean, you can I'd say flip a coin on this one.
Yeah. I'm going with the Ravens, but if Tennessee somehow gets out to like this 2-touchdown lead, just watch out. It's going to be another bad week for the Ravens, or a bad year for the Ravens.
Yeah. The Ravens are not built to come from behind very well. So that is an excellent point. I too am taking the Ravens for this. For me, it's two things. It's Tennessee's defense.
Yep.
And it's the fact that the Ravens have lost to this team 2 or 3 times now in a row.
Yeah.
I think just law of averages, mathematically, I think it's about time that the Ravens are going to get them back for it. Let's check the weather in Nashville. Bet you can't guess. 40s and moderate. Wind gust of 7 miles an hour. Real feel 46. So it's actually good. It's going to be 43, but it's going to feel warmer.
Wow.
Because of the humidity, I'm guessing. Yeah. So we're mild weather all over the place. What is going on? Playoff games are fun when the weather sucks.
I know.
The field's in a sheet of ice. I mean, I remember when I was a kid watching the Steelers play Houston in Three Rivers Stadium.
Oh my God.
Terry Bradshaw slipping in that slushy ice and sliding on his ass for 20 yards. And where are those games?
Yeah.
God. So yeah, Baltimore for both of us. We have nothing different so far. This is
I know
this is dramatic.
It'll get more interesting next week, I think.
Yeah, it will. It will. I have a feeling we're going to have the same one in the next game too. The Bears in New Orleans on CBS, which is weird. It's an NFC playoff matchup on CBS.
Wow, that is weird.
And the Saints got Kamara back, and
I know you're gonna allow in this age of COVID, they had to go through all these things, but while he was sitting home, they had this I heard they had this coded transmission of their game plan so that he could be at home, and the reporter actually said that it was coded so that someone couldn't break into the breakthrough because they were transmitting the game plan to him at the same time as Peyton was giving it to his team. And I'm like, what exactly did you guys do to make it coded? I don't know, use some kind of spy hardware?
Yeah, they probably just had some kind of, encoding. The IT department put some kind of encoding.
Yeah, so
Alvin Kamara was actually getting the real-time play calling while he sat home watching it on TV.
Yep. That's the report I got.
That tells me that they were trying things they're going to use in the wild card game.
Yep.
Otherwise, what would it matter?
Yeah, what would it matter? Yeah. And
so they're obviously they wanted him to know we're calling these things, we're testing these things out this week for next week. We want to see you watch how it runs. Now you can identify it because you're going to be running it next week yourself. That's really interesting. I didn't hear that. Wow.
Oh, well,
you can only get here on GeekTime TV.
Sean Payton takes this seriously, so
no, he does. He does.
And they're home. I mean, you've said time and time again what a difference it is for them to be home, not because of the crowd, because of the field.
They're indoors. Perfect.
And against a team that who has played so much better, but who we've already had, kind of buried.
Yeah. I'm going to have to revisit this, Edson. Let's take a short 1-minute break to revisit Thanksgiving prediction for these same Chicago Bears. I couldn't wait to put a fork in this team. I wanted to put a fork in this team like week 7, the Bears.
Which is kind of ironic because they're still 500 now, or are they still above 500?
They're 5-5.
Okay.
But they were 5-1. And you can just see it coming. Even when they were winning, they were that team that was like digging their fingernails on, just climbing. They're barely getting through these games. And Foles is out now, and they got to go back to Trubisky. It's a mess. They're not good. Their defense is outstanding. Their offense is so subpar.
But in a league where it's really a lot on the offense, it's like you can't compete with a bad offense.
Their offense can't. They struggle to score 20 points a week, and that's not going to get the job done.
Yeah,
and leaving their defense on the field the whole game.
And I think their offense struggles to even score 10 points. I think a lot of their points comes off special teams and their defense. So it's like that's even worse.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, you have Cordarrelle Patterson giving them good field position all the time too, and they still can't move the ball. They're not good.
That line cracks me up at the beginning where he's like, I wanted to put a fork them way back. It just cracks me up.
I wanted to put a fork in them week 1. They were starting Mitch Trubisky. Done. Season over.
Oh my gosh, that cracks me up every single time. I wanted to put a fork in them way back. Oh, watch! Well,
what do we know? Here they are. Here they are in wild card weekend.
Watch them win this game.
No, I can't see it. I mean,
I can't see it either.
Even if they knock Breeze out of the game, Taysom Hill will still.
Oh yeah, you're right. Even if
or Jameis Winston, whoever they put in there, it's. I'm sorry. Sean Payton is also he's much like Lamar Jackson with his playoff failures. Sean Payton hasn't so much failed as gotten screwed.
Right.
He keeps getting screwed by the referees. Like that Rams game a couple of years ago was unbelievable. Highway robbery. So this guy's got such an axe to grind with the league itself.
Yeah.
That he's on a mission. Every year he gets in the playoffs, he's on a mission to go all the way just to shove it up there. So that said, I got to take the Saints.
Yeah, I agree with you. And they don't just get screwed, but they also like fall into these where they get what was it? Was it last year or a couple of where they got these a 13-3 record back when it was like the first two, but they still didn't get the 2 seed. Now this year they get what it would technically be the 2 seed, but
they still
don't. It's like it's like he must be thinking, I can't win.
Yeah.
But geez. Yeah. I mean, I can't see how there's a way that Chicago will win this game. I think the Saints will be like, let's get this done in a militaristic way, just blow them out and get out of here so that we don't have any significant injuries.
Try not to get hurt. Yeah, exactly. I mean, if this were a regular season game, I might give the Bears a little bit of a shot, but being postseason and there's no tomorrow, there's no fixing it next week, whatever you did wrong, they're just going to put the hammer down on this team and step on their neck and show the Bears why they don't belong and what they need to do to get here next time. Let's just check the weather in New Orleans, even though it's indoor. Wow. We should check the weather anyway.
Pretty nice there.
Yeah, 51, 12-mile-an-hour winds, real feel 50. Yeah, okay. Good thing they play indoors because that doesn't even frigging matter. So, all right, well, we both got New Orleans. So, yeah, that brings us to the very last game of the weekend. Sunday night, 8:15 on NBC.
Yep.
The Flying Baker Mayfields against the Pittsburgh Steelers.
And geez, what that's like they finally make the playoffs in what, like 20 years, and what a disaster it's been for them this week. They can't even get their head coach there.
There is talk already starting up late today that they might postpone this game.
Oh, come on, but they're gonna
they might push it to Monday night.
Jeez, wow, that'll be a first too, a first of in a year of firsts.
Yeah,
playoffs on Monday night. Wow.
Yeah. I don't. So far, it's on, but the talks have started. So,
I guess that would be the only avenue. I mean, you can't really keep postponing it until the middle of the week because that's unfair for the winner. But
Monday night. But their facility's still closed. This team cannot do anything. They're having Zoom meetings, and now they're talking about. I heard last week Stefanski, because they had the same problem last Sunday, or no, it was the Jets game when they had no wide receivers.
Right.
They showed up on game day early, and they went across to a parking garage at the stadium and did walkthroughs in the parking garage because they weren't able to do it all week.
Right.
Because they had wide receivers that have never worked with Baker Mayfield. Now they got to go play a game. They're trying to teach these guys receiving routes in a parking garage the morning of the game. That's insane. They might be doing something similar Sunday.
Yeah, it's too bad too. But
it is. And then you have the knucklehead there. Rashard Higgins he's drag racing, gets arrested. The Browns are the Browns.
I mean, they did it to themselves. So what are you gonna say? I mean, you can't.
The Browns be the Browns. They will always be the Browns.
They also lost Olivier Vernon, one of their best.
Yes,
I think that was the injury though.
Their left guard, injury, yeah.
Wow.
He oh no, I'm sorry. He's their defensive lineman. He tore his Achilles, I think it was.
Okay. All leading up to me saying that the Steelers should win this game, since it was such a close game last week, and they had a lot of reserves in. I think what they really need to do is just continue what they did in that second half. They don't need a lot of this, but in that second half of the Colts game, some at least medium to long passes to, stretch that defense out. That way, it'll make it. The short passing game will be a lot more effective if you do that.
Yes.
And maybe your running game as well. It doesn't mean you have to trot Ben out there and have this 500-yard game. That's not what I'm saying. I don't think they need that, but they do need to going back to their kind of where they regained their success a little bit in that second half of the Colts game, and continue with that.
The Steelers have to involve Chase Claypool early and often. And that's not Chase Claypool for 7 yards. That's Chase Claypool for 30 yards. You're absolutely right. The Steelers cannot pussyfoot around for a whole half, throwing 2-yard passes on 3rd and 7. They have to take it to this team. They have to stretch the field early. They have to get that Cleveland defense confused and running in circles, and just take advantage of them and open up the running game and open up the short passing game. You're absolutely right. I'm tired of watching the Steelers come out and do nothing for the first 30 minutes of the game, and sometimes fall behind because of it as a result. The comebacks are getting annoying. This team is far too talented to be this bad on offense. The defense is rested. They got Spillane, the middle linebacker, coming back this week.
Wow, okay.
Ironically, though, they said they're starting Avery Williamson, who they picked up from the Jets. Just 3/4 of the way through, not quite midseason, a little past midseason. And at first, he wasn't really factoring into the defense at all. And he has picked it up so well that they're not giving Spillane his job back this week.
Wow.
They want to stick with Avery Williamson.
That's a good problem to have, I guess.
It is a good problem to have. The only casualty is Joe Hayden. He's on the COVID list, so he will not be playing. But other than that, Hayward, Watt, of course, no Devin Bush or Bud Dupree, but that's a given. But I think the defense is going to make life living hell for Baker Mayfield, because the backup defense made life a living hell for him last week. So they got 4 sacks on him. They turned him over. Yep. I think this week they really, really make life tough for Baker Mayfield. I think the Browns, this game's punching down like a lot of these games this week. They don't have a shot.
I agree. I think that the defense is going to come out swinging and really put them on their heels. And if the offense can take advantage of that, and I think you're right, I think it has to be right from the beginning, because the longer they keep them hanging around, the worse it gets, because then their running game comes into it. If they could just get out to a fast start, I know the defense will. The defense will stop them probably the first 4 or 5 times.
Yep.
And if the offense can take advantage of that and get out to it, then that eliminates their running game strength. And then Mayfield will be constantly running for his life.
Yeah, and you're absolutely right about leaving them hanging around. The Browns won 11 games for a reason.
Yeah.
Do I think they're in the same weight class as the Steelers? Absolutely not. But they're still a good football team, and Baker Mayfield has figured things out. I keep saying it. I'll say it again. OBJ getting hurt was the best thing to happen to this guy. It took 2 or 3 weeks, but once he figured out that offense, not having to force the ball to him to allow it just freed him up. He got Higgins more involved. He got Peoples-Jones more involved. The running game, once they got Chubb back, they got Hunt and Chubb. They got a great set of tight ends. Both tight ends are very good, Njoku and Hooper. So this is they're a really good team. But I don't think they're ready for prime time yet. What scares me, though, is just what you said. If the Steelers pussyfoot around like they have known to do in the postseason, the Steelers come out flat, playoff game after play. How many times have we seen it against the Jaguars? We've seen it against the Chiefs. We've seen it over and over again with this team when they come out flat. And if they do that, Baker Mayfield is more than capable of hitting a few splash plays and turning the whole thing on its head.
Yeah, and it'll just the longer it takes, the longer the Cleveland will gain kind of like some confidence in it. And
this game should go the way it went in Pittsburgh earlier this year, where they picked off Mayfield on the 3rd play of the game, put him behind the 8 ball. It was a pick 6 to Minkah Fitzpatrick, 3rd play of the game, and that set the tone, and it was over. And Cleveland was chasing the whole game, and they blew them out like 35-7 or 35-10 or something like that. So that's the way this game has to go, because you're absolutely right. If Cleveland hangs around for 3 quarters, it's gonna be a nail biter.
Yeah, it's gonna be a nail biter.
And I don't want that, and I don't think that's gonna happen. I actually think the Steelers are super focused, and they want to beat this team into the ground. Let's check the weather in Pittsburgh. So the weather in Pittsburgh on Sunday night. Well, look during the day. Shocking, 40s and sunny. 28 degrees, real field 28, 6-mile-an-hour winds. Not horrible, a little biting cold, but these are 2 cold weather teams. So weather not a factor in any of these games. That's a bummer. But it is the weather, and that could change in 48 hours.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, at least
the Saturday games will probably hold up as predicted, but Sunday could change. Well, you never know. Yep. So.
Wow.
Yeah, It's we got a full slate of games this week, and looking forward to it. We picked all 6 the same, so there's no drama at all.
Yeah, so. just thinking about watching that is it's almost getting me emotionally drained. It's like, I mean, in a happy way.
Yeah.
But I could see how after the weekend it's like, oh, I'm not going to be refreshed for work. I'm just going to be like, holy cow.
Like, I know. I hate that. Like when Monday morning is going to come after
let down. I know.
Suck.
So Friday night and Saturday morning are like, yay.
It feels like Christmas Eve right now, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It does. It's playoff eve, wild card weekend eve. I'm gonna have the same feeling next week. Championship week, I don't have the same feeling because not exactly. It's 2 games, and oh man, once they're over, we got to wait 2 weeks for the big game. Yeah. The big game is usually, it's been better the last decade or so, but a lot of times it's still not
too much of a lull anyway. So
too much of a lull. So it's we'll see. We'll see what happens.
But I'm depressed thinking about that.
Sorry to bring you down, man. Let's just enjoy these next.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
Our format going forward will not be the same as our regular season where we had a recap show and a picks show. We'll do them both at the same time going forward. So we'll recap these wildcard games quickly next week. In the second half of the show, we'll do the picks for the 4 divisional round games.
Yeah, there's one small enough number to
combine. Smaller sample size, right? We don't have to cover 16 games or whatever.
Yep.
So, all right. Well, thanks for watching. If you liked what you heard, give us a thumbs up. If you didn't, give us a thumbs up anyway, or thumbs down. It's fine. We can take it. We're grown men. Please subscribe to the channel. The subscriptions only help us get better and grow. And if we grow, we can do more things and make more entertainment. And if you'd be so inclined, drop us a line. Let us know what you think or what you'd like to see. Yeah. What would you want to see us do?
Yeah, exactly.
You can follow us on all the socials, even the wretched hive of scum and villainy named Twitter. We're on there, and we're on the Faceplant, and we're on the Instagrams as well at GeekTime Net. Our website on the interweb thing is called GeekTimeNetwork.com, and you can find all our videos and our radio program and our articles and all kinds of zany madcap stuff. Actually, if you want to write an article for our website, we'd love it. Just send it in.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Send it in. We'll publish it on the site. And you can
write an article about how terrible we were with our
exactly. And if you just rather just send us good old-fashioned hate mail through the email system, there it is. GeekTimeNet@gmail.com. And please, again, hit that subscribe button. We really need the subscribers. Really helps things. Thank you, folks. So that's it. So for Edson, I will be Keith. Good luck tomorrow to everyone who has a rooting interest in these games. If you're a fan of any of these teams, good luck. Go Tennessee. Go Washington.
Yeah.
Just saying. And go first. My Steelers.
Oh, I'm surprised you didn't say go Colts.
No, I love the Bills. Okay. I think they're so much fun to watch. And you know what? Here, I'm going to let it out. Cat out of the bag. They're my pick to win the whole damn thing. So, yeah, I think Buffalo's going to win the whole damn thing.
If they were eliminated early on, they would help the Steelers a little bit now.
It would screw my football pool, and I'd lose all my money.
That's true.
All right. So once again, for Edson, I will be Keith. Have fun watching the games, folks. We will see you back here next week for the divisional round. If you like this video, please subscribe to the channel. If you subscribe, make sure you click the little bell icon to be notified anytime someone from our show drops new content here. Thanks for watching, and we'll talk to you soon.
Say, kids, what time is that?